my fellow cigar smokers, and welcome to Smoker Spot and another night owl. Tonight we are smoking the Southern Draw Kudzu. Man, I really hope I pronounced that name right because I have no fucking clue how to pronounce it actually. I don't even know where that word is actually coming from, but I did my research and we're talking about it in a while. But before we keep on talking about the last couple of days and what's going on and the cigar, all that, we get it started. Wonderful. Oh, the cold draw. I just wanted to say the draw is excellent, but wow, there is so much sweetness coming along in the cold draw. That's wow. And the smell has a like cedar wood. But that's the first Southern Draw I ever smoked. So that will be a real experience. I got this stick from my good friend Terry. Hope to see you again in the lounge very soon, my friend. We miss you. And Terry was kind enough to get me a couple of cigars from the States, and also in that bundle he gave me, there were also a couple of Southern Draw sticks in there. So really appreciate that. Draw super good. But you know, it's a box pressed. And by the way, that's the Robusto. 54 ring gauge and 5.5 inches long. It's a Texas-based company. I guess that is where the Southern Draw name is coming from. Around $10. As I said very often, the States they have a great boutique cigar scene. We don't have that here in Germany. We have a lot of major brands, and here and there like small brands, Cigar Kings for example. But I mean that small badge boutique cigar thing is huge in the States, and we're lagging behind here a little bit. Well, we're working at it. Here on the band, and that's confusing me. There you have like a subtitle that is saying Soli Deo Gloria. Latin means glory to God alone. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Maybe the founder of Southern Draw is very religious. I have no idea. And what does that mean? Like smoking a cigar in order to praise God, or what? I don't know. But maybe some of you guys know what's behind that phrase. I don't know. And Kudzu Man, I really had to do some research on that. Actually, there are two things that I found out. The first one, it's like a wild wine that's mostly growing in the Asia region. And secondly, that plant is used in the traditional Chinese medicine for healing all kind of shit. So, I hope they not incorporated that wild wine leaves into that cigar. But as far as I know, it has an Ecuador Habano Oscuro wrapper. Binder's filler is from Nicaragua, and AJ Fernandez is doing that cigar in Esteli in Nicaragua for Southern Draw. So an interesting combination, and it has a lot of sweetness. And believe it or not, I had that sweetness and that cedar wood in the cold draw and in the smell, and it's exactly the same thing that I'm getting out of that cigar now puffing it. It's very, well, I don't have it that often that you find the exact flavors that you had in the cold draw and in the smell, that you find that flavors when you're smoking the cigar. So that's impressive, really. And the draw is excellent, but it's a box pressed, and usually box pressed cigar tend to have that it draws a little bit more loose than with a traditional rolled cigar. So that's not such a big surprise there. Last week, with my best buddy Ollie, we were visiting, or we're doing a whiskey tasting that was coming together with a 4-course meal, and I got that thing that was a present. My wife was a gift from my wife from last Christmas. I'm not talking about that Wham song, Last Christmas. Nope, I really mean Last Christmas. And and that happened last weekend. And for a couple of reasons, it was a really, really good event. First of all, there was the first event for the first whiskey tasting, public whiskey tasting, were 30 people or so in a long time. Because due to, it was not possible to have larger gatherings. So that was just nice. And also the guy who was doing the whiskey tasting, he's a guy from a small town called Seligenstadt here in Germany, very close to Frankfurt. And I know he has a shop and he's doing a lot of tastings and things. And he was very happy to do that again. And he also said the amount of money you can do when selling whiskey is kind of small over here, because the margin the money you can make out of whiskey just selling it, it's not such a big thing, So mostly these guys are making money when they're doing events, mostly tasting. So he was very happy to just doing an event again, doing a whiskey tasting and all that. And you could feel that, that was good. And And secondly, we had like 6 different whiskeys. And you guys, you know, I'm really into whiskey. I have a kind of large collection of whiskeys from all over the world, mostly Japan, Scotland, and Ireland. So it's really kind of hard to pick like 6 whiskeys that I never had before. And I know from that 6 whiskeys, I was familiar with like 3 brands, so I know the names, and I had other whiskeys from that same company, and the 3 others they were like completely new to me. And that alone was cool, you know. And together with that 4 course meal, we had like uh, we had like 2 starters, a soup, and you know every single course, every meal, no matter if it was a starter, the main dish, or the dessert, it had all something to do with whiskey, you know. So we had a soup as a starter, which was, funnily enough, a carrot vanilla soup, and somehow they incorporated whiskey. Not sure how. Now I forget the exact naming and stuff. And another starter was, I think, something carpaccio like. Not sure what it was exactly. I can't. It was last week, and we had 6 whiskeys. So um, some of my memories are like lost in the fog of in the whiskey fog. And the main course was a tenderloin steak, and the dessert was like some special kind of brownie with whiskey cream. So the food was great, and it worked very well together with the whiskeys. And you could feel like that whiskey tasting was designed for like newbies, so people who don't know whiskey at all, or very little experience with whiskey, but it was no problem, you know. So of course he was talking about a whole lot of stuff that you already know, like what is whiskey, how's it made, and what regions we have in Scotland, and so on. Because mainly like 5 out of the 6 whiskeys were coming from Scotland, and one was an Irish whiskey. And that was really special. I'm talking about that one later. Um, so as I said, it was made for like, or designed for like when you're new to whiskey, but that again, no problem at all. But there was a couple of interesting information that I didn't know. So other than just whiskey and good food, you also got some like you learned something, you know. And I mean, I'm drinking whiskey like way over 20 years, but there's also something that you can learn, you know, like with every other thing in life. So it was definitely interesting. There was this one new whiskey I never heard of, and it's called Seven Seals, and it was the Irish whiskey. The thing is, and I'm not completely sure about how that process is working exactly, but here's the deal. They invented a new method of like aging whiskeys, because you know whiskey alone, like when you're getting it like fresh from the still, the pot still, it's like just very, it's like a very, it's like very clear, you know, it's looking like water. The color as well as a lot of the flavors are coming from the barrel that you are aging the whiskey in. So, and usually you're taking like ex-bourbon barrels where you're putting the whiskey in. And we all know that for years now, distillers worldwide having problems getting enough barrels because there's a problem with like getting enough wood for barrels and so on. So it's a long story, you know, and I don't want to like boring the heck out of you with the philosophy about getting the right barrels and stuff. That's really not very exciting. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not very exciting. So let's just take it as a fact. We have a worldwide problem when it comes to barrels. And there's just a number of times that you can use a barrel. So you put in whiskey in it, you age it like for, let's say, 6 years, you know, you're getting it out of it. If you want to use the barrel again, you have to toast it, you know, under very high temperature. So you have a very hot flame, and that is burning like the inside of the barrel. And of course, with every toasting process, with every time you toast the barrel, the wood is getting a little bit thinner, you know, and it's losing some of its magic. So they invented a new method of doing that, you know. Because the thing is, when you like toasting the barrel, that, let's call it the flavor buds in the wood that is giving the liquid that is inside of the barrel, the flavor, you want to open them up a little bit, you know. And with that toasting process, that's working good up to a specific degree. So these guys from Seven Seals, they're not toasting the barrels. They're doing it with like hot water steam, and it's somehow completely different. As again, I don't know how it exactly works, but they say that they're reducing the amount of time that the whiskey needs in order to absorb all the flavors that are coming from the barrel. They reduce it tremendously. So they say, and I'm just repeating that, right? I'm not saying that's the way it is, but they say that with that process, if you leave the whiskey in the barrel that was treated that specific way, it's enough keeping it in the barrel for 14 days. And that is equal to like 6 years with the traditional method. That's what they're saying. I mean, it's somehow unbelievable, you know, but I'm telling you what, I was drinking that whiskey, and it had a lot of peatiness, woodish aromas, sweetness, all that stuff that you're getting out of that whiskey when you like store it in an ex-bourbon barrel for like, let's say, a couple of years. So the result, if that's really the thing, how it happened, it was great. So at some point, you can decide if you like believe the story or you doubt the story. And frankly, for me personally, I'm still not sure if I'm going to believe that or not. The whiskey was great, and I don't know. So that's the story with that 7 Seal whiskeys. And that is going along with another thing that guy told us, you know, or told the audience. And that is something that is like more or less completely contrary to what I believe in. And it's discussable, Well, he said, basically, that the only thing, well, he said two things. The only thing that matters is taste, So you like it or not. True. Man, I agree 100% to that, Like with every other thing when it's coming to like food, drinks, cigars, whatever. Mainly there are two categories. You like it or not. And then everything else that's coming after that are details, How was it stored? How was it aged? What tobacco? Where is it coming from? Or in when we're talking about whiskey, and when we're not talking about tobacco, like, okay, what country, what barrel, etc., etc. You know what I mean, right? So agree to fair play. You like it or not? Cool. And then, but B, the second thing, what he said is like, not like the exact wording, but he said, fuck aging, I don't care about aging, And he said, I had whiskeys that were like real fresh and they were tasting great, and I had whiskeys like that were aged for 24 years and they sucked, And up to a degree, I had old whiskeys that were just not my taste, And I had fresh whiskeys that I really liked, like I had a 3-year-old whiskey, and up to Scottish regulations, a whiskey has to be stored like at least 3 years in order to call it a whiskey. So yes, I had like young whiskeys that were great, and I had old whiskeys that sucked, But that's a matter of taste. And taste is always like subjective, You have other taste than I have because you have made other experience with different things, so that's cool. But you cannot tell me that a whiskey that was aged for, and let's say 24 years, has the same quality compared to whiskey that is like 3 years old, Because I really, really think that when you're leaving that whiskey in a barrel for 24 years, that is doing something with that whiskey, And you need time for that. You cannot reduce that to like 14 days. That's not doing the same thing with the whiskey as 24 years, And I don't know how somebody would be able to convince me about that 14-day theory, And that Seven Seas was great, But I still think a 24-year-old whiskey is a different thing. It's just a different thing, And it's all coming down to that. I don't know if you ever heard about that good, fast, and cheap theory, You cannot have all three things. It's not possible. Because something can be good and cheap, but then it was not done in a very quick way, or it can be, and we all know that, you can be very quick with something and it is cheap. But then it's not good. And you know, with whiskey, with cigars, with rum, with all that sort of things, that's the same thing. You cannot have all three. Anyhow, so I'm not want to like, I don't want to reduce that whiskey tasting we had to just the negative things, but it was like one thing that I cannot get that out of my mind, you know. But that's the cool thing, because we agreed to disagree, you know. I uh, I, I didn't share his thoughts, you know, because I believed otherwise. But a lot of other things he was talking about, I was absolutely cool with it, and it was still a cool event, very entertaining and everything, you know. But not, I don't have necessarily agree to everything somebody says, you know. So if there are 1-2 points where I think otherwise, I'm cool with that. End of the day, really, at the end of the day, it's just like the way I want to live, you know, and that's the way I want. That's the way I treat other people, and that's the way I want to be treated, you know. We don't have to share the same belief system. We don't have to share the same thoughts, the same ideas. I could think otherwise, but at least what I expect from my partner is that you respect my thoughts, my ideas, my point of view. You know, you don't have to agree, but respect my opinion, you know, as well as I respect your opinion. I don't have to agree, but I can accept and I can respect what you're saying. I mean, if it's not like complete nonsense and bullshit, you know. So if you're talking trash the whole time and bullshitting all around the whole day, I don't have to respect that. I'm not accepting that, and probably I will kick your ass. Not physically, verbally. Maybe sometimes it's also necessary to kick really some ass, but that's another topic. So guys, I don't know if you are into that whiskey thing, but it would be really really cool to know if you're doing like whiskey tastings, what do you think? And you also, maybe you have some wild theories about whiskey aging and all that stuff. If so, let me know. I love talking whiskey, like I love talking cigars. And by the way, today I'm not drinking. You know, usually we're smoking a cigar and we're drinking a whiskey. Today I have no whiskey, only boiling water. Why? Because today a good friend of mine from Switzerland is here in Frankfurt at the moment, and he's visiting us every, let's say, 2 or 3 months, right? So when he's here, we all always doing something together, like go out and eat here and doing this and a lot of cigars together. So today we he asked me if we can visit like the Kempinski Lounge in Frankfurt, this hotel, because very often we're talking about it. I've never been there, so he asked can we making a trip to the Kempinski Smokers 100 Lounge and smoking a cigar? Well, no problem. We're asking a couple of buddies, so we were meeting in the Kempinski Smokers Lounge. Had a couple of cigars, and I said, you know what? After that, we can go eat at that place. It's called Mindina in Frankfurt, and that is a great steakhouse. Really, they making really cool shit. I mean, they specialize like in steaks, and they have a little bit of seafood, but basically that's it. So we were in total 7 people, and we met then at the mine dinner over there, and we were eating like crazy. Carpaccio starter, and I had they call it a bourbon ribeye because um, they doing the steak in a kind of a bourbon sauce, you know, and they're getting it in and out of it and putting it on a plate. So I had that bourbon ribeye, and it was like, wow, fantastic. And I had together with French fries and with onion rings, and we had a dessert that is called Kaiserschmarrn. More or less, that's a special sort of a pancake that is like cut in pieces and is coming together with a special sort of sugar and some load was. So all I'm saying is like I'm full up to here, and I'm not. I don't have the desire right now to drink a whiskey because man, I'm like stuffed. So just water for me today. Next time we're doing a whiskey again. So we had a great evening. Smoking a lot of cigars, being at that steak place, and it was all good. We had a lot of cool topics that we talked about, and it was just nice and enjoyable being together with good buddies and just basically just having a good time. So back to that Southern Draw. Glory to God alone. Soli Deo Gloria. I still don't know what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but I have no clue why they put it on the band. So Southern Draw Kudzu. All I can say is, wow. Love that stick. I love that stick. A lot of sweetness. Still. And still that cedar wood. And now like in the second third, there is this nutty flavor that's adding up. So a great overall package. For $10, hard to beat. Really. And also the construction, I mean, it has a good ash, stacking dimes. Burn is pretty much good, and it has a good feeling. Like it's also important, like touching the cigar, the feel of it, and the wrapper is very dark and oily. So man, that's a great stick. Other surprise, cigar wise, like I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I discovered a new cigar. Maybe it's not completely new, but new to me. And it's called Shaji Bobby. Xhaxhi. That's how you spell it. And it's pronounced Shaji. And it's looking like Chinese or something, but it's coming from Albania. And there's a story behind it, which is great, but I'm not revealing all that because I won't definitely doing like either a cigar talk or review of that cigar because it's some really cool things about that stick. So I discovered that one like coincidentally. There's like this one favorite online dealer that I'm here in Germany where I'm very often. Well, very often is not true. Sometimes, because really mostly I'm buying all my sticks from my favorite brick and mortar store. But sometimes I'm discovering new things that my brick and mortar store is not having like in stock, and they cannot order it for whatever reason. So I'm going somewhere else to that place and I'm ordering it online, right? And they have a section that's like new, the the new section. And I always like clicking on that and see what's new, and sometimes I'm just, oh, that sounds interesting, that's looking nice, and just ordering like a couple of sticks to trying, just trying it, you know. And it was one of it. I just found it in that new section, you know, and I just ordered like I think 4 sticks or so, and they arrived, and I was like, wow, wow. Um, Good price, good quality, good looking cigar, nice background story. That was definitely a cool thing, really. So stay tuned, guys. I will do that Chargy Bobby thing here on Smoker Spot, um, because earlier I said I love talking cigars or about cigars and everything that is related to it. And when I figured out something, I find something new or whatever interesting, like either on a positive or negative way, I want to share that, you know. So what I do, when I'm in a lounge, I'm talking with my buddies about it, but in the same way, one of my first thoughts are always like, oh man, I have to do something for Smoker Spot. I want to share it with you. Um, uh, just because I like to share cigar related stuff, you know. That's what that whole channel is all about. And sometimes, you just sit here smoking a cigar, thinking about things, and just doing nothing. And I find it very relaxing doing nothing. Just hanging out, you know. And that is also what that night owl thing is all about, you know. I don't have to talk like all the time about stuff. Sometimes we're just sitting here, you and me virtually together, and just smoking a good cigar. So I really would love when you guys watching the night owl, when you also just smoking a cigar together with me, you know? Because what we're trying to simulate here is being together virtually, you know? And sometimes, like also when you're in a lounge, you know, I mean, you're not talking all the time, right? I mean, sometimes it's very active, and you're talking a lot about topics that you're interested in, and sometimes, you know, you talk for like 10 minutes, you know, and then you're coming to an end with about that topic, and then you just sit there and smoke the cigar, and it's just silence, you know. And you concentrate a little bit on the cigar, on the flavors, you know, and thinking about things. And then maybe after a couple of minutes, you're talking again. And maybe that's somehow crazy, but personally, myself, I'm enjoying that stuff too, you know. I mean, not only doing the night on myself here for you guys, but also when I'm watching like other things from other content creators, and I'm really enjoying that laid back, relaxed atmosphere. So I don't need to be entertained all the time, you know. We have to be somehow. Some people need to learn how to relax again, you know. Take it easy. For God's sake, take it easy. Like the world all around us is so fast. So, you know, you'll sit down, relax, smoke a cigar. And there are different ways how you can enjoy a cigar. Because I think in the Linea de Oro review, the Romeo Giulietta Linea de Oro review I was doing lately, or it was an episode before that, I was talking about one of the comments I got like a couple of days or weeks ago. And in that review, or cigar talk, I can't remember what it was exactly, so I'm repeating now myself because I said it in another episode, but it's still true. Somebody said you're always talking about like relaxing and taking it easy, but you're doing like 4 double puffs per minute. And that again has nothing to do with being hectic or stressing the shit out of me. Some cigars are attention whores. They need your attention, you know. And when you're not doing like 4 double puffs per minute, that cigar will go out on you, and you have to burn it. You have to light it, relight it again, and that makes no sense at all, you know. But I'm still pretty much relaxed, even when I'm doing like 4 double puffs per minute. It's still about enjoying a cigar. I'm still relaxed, no stress at all, trying to enjoy my cigar. But I know that stick right now needs my attention. Like that cigar over here needs no attention at all. It's just working out. And you can feel it when you smoke that cigar, right? It's I would be able to put that cigar right now in the ashtray, leave it there like for 2 minutes, and it would still be glowing, smoking, and burning when I'm coming back and taking the cigar again and puffing it again, you know? It's not the same way with all cigars. We know that. Then we'll remove here the second band because I'm not into smoking bands. Kudzu. You know what's a good thing? And right now I'm not doing small talk about weather, but what I want to say is the weather is getting better, and that means I can ride my bike more often. And I missed that so much because last week or a couple of days ago we had 2 or 3 days in a row where the weather was very good. And when I'm saying very good in February, that means like it's not raining, and it's like, I don't know, between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius. Just good enough for me, you know. Riding the bike, and it was like freedom again, because that's the association I have with my bike, like freedom. When I'm on that bike and I'm riding the bike, I'm feeling free, you know. And I was doing some modifications on my Harley. And I was taking a ride to my mechanic who's doing things on me on my bike, and we were looking like for a couple of new things that I will get done hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And I'm just so excited when it's summer again, and like I can ride every day. Um, Hopefully with a couple of good friends, and because it's a different thing when like you're riding alone, which is also cool sometimes. But it's also good to. It's a great feeling to riding with a couple of guys. That's like hard to beat, really. Sometimes I wish it would be possible to riding the bike and smoking a cigar simultaneously, but obviously that's not a very good idea. So, guys, that was a very laid back, relaxed night owl. Even more relaxed than the night owls usually are. And really enjoyed that. And right now I'm feeling kinda sleepy, you know, because I had too much of that food, you know. And I'm feeling like I want to go to bed, really. And I hope you guys smoked a good cigar here together with me. Again, let me know what you smoked. Um, if you're not smoking right now, dude, go to your humidor, pick a stick, and smoke a good cigar. Enjoy life. And most importantly, stay safe and stay healthy. And I hope to see you around at the next Night Owl, the next review, the next cigar talk, whatever. Let's just spend some quality time virtually together. Good night. Cheers.